Good morning, students. Today we are moving to the last section of our chapter Plant Kingdom, that is plant life cycles and alternation of generation. Okay, so we studied algae, bryophyte, gymnosperm, pteridophyte, angiosperm. In all these groups, there is a particular type of life cycle is happening, and there is a alternation in the gametophyte and sporophyte generation. So that thing we are moving to look in this portion. Okay, so plant life cycle and alternation of generation. In both haploid and diploid cells of a plant can divide by mitosis. Okay, we already know that in plants both the haploid and diploid cells can divide by mitosis, and this form haploid and diploid plant bodies. Okay, this is general thing. Then haploid plant body are called gametophyte, which produce gametes by mitosis. Clear? Haploid plant body called gametophyte, which produce gametes by mitosis. After fertilization, the zygote also undergo division, that is mitotic division, to produce diploid plant body called sporophyte. So haploid plant body is gametophyte, diploid plant body is sporophyte. Okay, so this produce haploid spore. So gametophyte produce gametes, sporophyte produce haploid spores. Okay, so the production of spores by meiotic division in spores. Okay, so meiosis takes place for the formation of spores, whereas mitosis takes place for the formation of gametes in gametophyte. Okay, clear? So haploid plant body is called gametophyte, which produce gametes by mitosis. Then diploid plant body is called sporophyte, which produces haploid spore by meiosis. These spores undergo mitotic division to form haploid plant body, that is gametophyte. Again the cycle continues. Okay, so during the life cycle of any sexually reproducing plant, this is only for sexually reproducing plant. Okay, so there is an alternation of generation between haploid gametophyte and diploid sporophytic generation. So every sexually reproducing plant, there is an alternation of generation between gametophyte, which are haploid in nature, and sporophyte, which are diploid in nature. So this is the brief. You understand? Okay, so both haploid and diploid cells undergo mitosis to produce the haploid and diploid plant bodies. In case of gametophyte, they undergo mitosis to produce gametes, and gametophyte are haploid plant body. Then after fertilization, zygote will produce. These zygote undergo mitotic division to form sporophyte, and these sporophyte undergo meiosis to form haploid spore. Again mitotic division happen in the sporophyte, which give rise to the formation of a haploid plant body called gametophyte. So alternation in the gametophyte and sporophytic generation may take place in all sexually reproducing plants. Then there are three patterns of life cycle. First one, haplontic life cycle. Second one, diplontic life cycle. Third one, haplodiplontic life cycle. First one, haplontic life cycle. What are haplontic life cycle? Okay, so in this life cycle, the sporophytic generation is represented only by the zygote. Okay, so in haplontic life cycle, the sporophytic generation is represented by only zygote, and these zygote undergo meiosis to form haploid spores, and they undergo mitotic division to form gametophyte. So here the gametophytic phase, that is the haploid gametophytic phase, is dominant, whereas the diploid sporophytic phase is less dominant comparatively haploid. So in haplontic life cycle, the haploid stage is dominant, that is the gametophytic stage is dominant. Okay, so gametophytic stage is otherwise haploid stage. So the haploid stage is dominant, that is, which means the gametophytic stage is dominant in the haplodic life cycle. The dominant photosynthetic phase is free living gametophyte. Okay, example, algae like volvox, spirogyra and some species of chlamydomonas. So in haplodic life cycle, the sporophytic generation is represented only by the zygote. So the zygote undergo meiosis to form haploid spores. They again undergo mitotic division to form haploid gametophyte. And the dominant photosynthetic phase is the free living gametophyte. So here in haplodic life cycle, the dominant phase is gametophyte. Okay, example, volvox, spirogyra and chlamydomonas species. Then second one is diploidic. Okay, just opposite to haplodic. Here the diploid phase, that is the sporophytic generation, is more comparatively what? Gametophytic generation. Okay, so the sporophytic generation or sporophytic stage is dominant comparatively gametophytic stage. So in this diploidic life cycle, the diploid sporophyte is the dominant photosynthetic independent phase, whereas the gametophytic phase is represented by the single to few celled haploid gametophyte. Okay, so here there is a short life cycle for the gametophyte, whereas sporophytic generation is more comparatively. Then example, algae, fucus, then all seed bearing plants. All seed bearing plants. Gymnosperm and angiosperm, the gametophytic phase is few to multicelled stage. So these are about diploidic. Then come to haplodiploidic. Okay. So what are haplodiploidic? So it is the intermediate condition between haplodic and diploidic. So both the sporophytic generation as well as the gametophytic generation has equal importance in the life cycle. So it is the intermediate condition between haplodic and diploidic life stage. So both gametophyte and sporophyte are multicellular and often free living. Okay, so both are free living. They are not interdependent to each other. Okay, then but they have different dominant phases. So these are about haplodiploidic life cycle. Example, bryophyte and pteridophyte. Bryophyte and pteridophyte are the examples of haplodiploidic life cycle. So these are about the life cycle. So this is a small portion. It is very simple. You already understand the life cycle of each plant group. So this is simple. Okay, only you have to be mind that the haploid condition is for gametophyte, which produces gametes by mitosis. Then the diploid condition is sporophyte, which produces spore by meiosis, and these spore undergo mitosis to form haploid plant body, that is gametophyte. Okay, so these are the alternation of generations. Okay, now what we will do, it's over. So our chapter is over. Now we will discuss the book back question today itself. Okay, why? Because this is only a 5 minutes class. So that's why we will discuss the book back question today itself. So come to the book back questions. First question, what is the basis of classification of algae? What is the basis of classification of algae? Okay, I will give you some points regarding each question. You want to make the answers and send to me. Okay, so what is the basic? Yeah, it is the presence or absence of pigments. Presence or absence of pigments is the main basic classification of algae. Okay, in in Chlorophyceae, the chlorophyll A and B pigments are present. In Rhodophyceae, the chlorophyll A and D are present. In Phaeophyceae, the chlorophyll A and C are present. So just like the presence of pigments, not only chlorophyll, all the carotenoid pigments also we want to consider. So based on the presence or absence of pigments, the algae are classified. Then second question, when and where does reduction division takes place in the life cycle of a liverwort? a moss, a fern, a gymnosperm and an angiosperm. Okay, so when and where does the reduction division takes place? So normally in liverwort, moss and fern during sexual reproduction. Okay, in liverwort, moss and fern during sexual reproduction, the sporophytic phase of the plant produces haploid spores after meiosis. Okay, so the reduction division takes place when the sporophytic phase of the plant produces haploid spores after meiosis, which happens in the spore mother cell. So the reduction division takes place in the spore mother cell, and this reduction division takes place when it takes place in the spore mother cell. It takes place at the time of production of haploid spore. While in gymnosperm and angiosperm, okay, in case of gymnosperm and angiosperm, the reduction division takes place in the anther and ovary during the formation of pollen grains and ovules respectively. Okay, so these are the reduction division which takes place in both. Okay, this is hint only. You want to frame the answer in para. Then, name the three group of plant that bear archegonia. Briefly describe the life cycle of any one of them. Okay, so you know what are the groups which present archegonia. Yes, bryophytes, pteridophytes and gymnosperms are the three plant groups which bear archegonia. Okay, bryophytes, pteridophytes and gymnosperms are the three plant groups which bear distinct archegonia. Then you just write any one of the life cycle up to your wish. We already discussed all the three plant groups life cycle, that is reproductive cycle. You just mention how the reproduction takes place, then the structure and features about the male gamete, then structure and features about the female gamete, and how fertilization takes place. Okay, so this should be the main points you want to add in the life cycle. First one, how the fertilization, general characters about the fertilization, then structure of male gamete, structure of female gamete, then finally fertilization. Okay. Then fourth question, mention the ploidy of the following. First one, protonemal cell of a mass. Okay, so the question is mention the ploidy of the following. First one, protonemal cell of a mass. Okay, so protonema means what? Which comes in the bryophyte. Okay, so bryophyte which comes in the sporophytic generation. Okay, sporophytic generation, that is in the spore producing structure. Spore producing structure or called, okay, protonema, and which is obviously haploid condition. Then second one is primary endosperm nucleus in dicot. Okay, so primary endosperm nucleus in a dicot is a triploid condition. Then leaf cell of a moss is a haploid condition. Prothallus of a fern, haploid in condition. Then gemma cell in Markantia, haploid condition. Meristem cell of a monocot, they are diploid in condition. Okay, then ovum of a liverwort, that is haploid in condition. Zygote of a fern, it is diploid condition. Okay, so those are about the question 4. Then question number 5. Write a note on the economic importance of algae and gymnosperm. We already discussed the economic importance of algae in our previous classes, but I think we are not discussed about the economic importance of gymnosperm. Okay, so you may note down the economic importance of gymnosperm. Gymnosperms plants are widely used as ornamentals. Okay, gymnosperm plants are widely used as ornamentals, and many conifers such as pine, cedar, etc. Okay, many conifer plants such as pine, cedar, etc. are source of the softwood which can be used in the construction and packaging industry. So, many coniferous plants such as pine, cedar, etc. are source of the softwood which can be used in the construction and packaging. Okay, then come to the medicinal properties. A drug anti-cancer drug. An anti-cancer drug Taxol is obtained from the plant Taxus which belong to gymnosperm. An anti-cancer drug Taxol is obtained from the plant Taxus. Okay, then many species of ephedra produce ephedrine which can be used in the treatment of asthma and bronchitis. Many species of ephedra. Okay, ephedra is a plant which comes under gymnosperm. They produces a medicinal value chemical compound called ephedrine. Okay, so many species of ephedra produces ephedrine which can be used in the treatment of asthma and bronchitis. Then the seed of pinus. Okay, the seed of Pinus gerardiana. Seed of Pinus gerardiana are edible. Okay, the seed of Pinus gerardiana are edible. Then resins are used commercially for manufacturing sealing waxes, waterproof paints. Okay, so the resins which we obtained from the gymnosperms can be used commercially for manufacturing sealing waxes and waterproof paints. Okay, so resins are used commercially for manufacturing sealing waxes and waterproof paints. Then a type of resin known as turpentine. A type of resin known as turpentine. It can be used in the commercial purpose which is obtained from various species of pinus. Okay, so a type of resin known as turpentine. It is used for various commercial purpose and which we obtained from various species of pinus. Then, sixth question. Both gymnosperm and angiosperm bear seed. Both gymnosperm and angiosperm bear seeds. Then why are they classified separately? Okay, so you know the clear reason why gymnosperms and angiosperms are classified separately even though they both of them bear seeds. What is the major reason? Yes, the seed of gymnosperms are naked. The seed of gymnosperms are naked. They lack any kind of covering around them. Okay, but in case of angiosperm, it is covered by fruit walls. Okay, so that's why we separate the gymnosperm and angiosperm into two different groups. Then, what is heterospory? Briefly comment on its significance. Give two example. You know what is heterospory. Okay, we already discussed in the pteridophyte, that is Selaginella and Salvinia, and in gymnosperm also we discussed. Then, what is heterospory? The phenomena in which two kind of spores are born by the same plant. Two kind of spores. Okay, the spores are different size. The smaller one is called microspore. The bigger one is called megaspore. Microspore produce male gametophyte. Megaspore produce female gametophyte. So, if we can consider it is a crucial step in the evolution as it precursor to the seed habit. Okay, we already discussed about the seed habit. Okay, so this is the this is heterospory and example is gymnosperms and angiosperm. Gymnosperm and angiosperm. So the significance is it considered as a crucial step in the evolution as it precursor to the seed habit. Then explain briefly the following terms with suitable example. What is Protonema, Antheridium, Archegonium, Diplontic, Sporophyll, Isogamy. All these terms are very much familiar. We already discussed all these terms. You just write short notes on these terms. Okay, briefly just with two or three sentences you just explain what is Protonema and with a suitable example. Okay, example means Protonema, if the example is what? It is seen in the moss stage of life cycle, like that. Okay. Then, ninth question. Differentiate between the following. Okay, differentiate between red algae and brown algae. Symbol. All the general features you just write. Then, difference between liverwort and moss. That also we discussed. Difference between homosporous and heterosporous pteridophyte. We discussed. Difference between syngamy and triple fusion. that also we discussed. Syngamy means the fusion of male gamete with egg in an angiosperm, whereas triple fusion means the process of fusion of male gamete with the diploid secondary nucleus in the angiosperm. So syngamy produce a diploid zygote, whereas triple fusion produce a triploid primary endosperm. Then 10th question. How do you distinguish monocote from dicote? That also we discuss what are the feature. Okay, in case of monocote, the root are fibrous root. In case of dicote, the root are taproot. In case of monocote, the leaf has parallel venation. In case of dicote, the leaf has reticulate venation. Then trimerous flower is common in monocote, pentamerous flower is common in dicote. Only one cotyledon is present in seed in monocote, but two cotyledon can be seen in dicote. So these are the general characters which can be distinguished between monocote and dicote. Then come to question number 11. Match the following. Okay, you want to match column 1 with column 2. So Chlamydomonas, it comes in algae. Cycas, it comes in gymnosperm. Selaginella, it comes in pteridophyte. Sphagnum, it comes in moss. Okay, then last question. Describe the important characteristics of gymnosperm. That also we discuss. Okay, you just want to take all the general features and you want to write something from the reproduction, some important part from the reproduction in this question. Okay, so these are about the questions. So that's all about our chapter 3 plant kingdom. So we are winding up our chapter. If you feel any doubt regarding any portion, you can contact me at any time, no problem. Then from tomorrow onwards, your next chapter, that is animal kingdom, will be started. Okay, so that will be handled by Ruben sir. He will take the classes from tomorrow onwards. So you will get zoology classes from tomorrow onwards. Okay, so after completing animal kingdom, we will meet with morphology of flowering plants. Okay, so that's all about today. Okay, so we are completing our chapter 3. Okay,